Welcome to the Fundamental Show, where we discuss the fundamentals of life and how to find fulfillment. I'm here today with none other than Mariam Al-Roubi. My name is Wale Adesmoye, your host for today. And the first time when I met this woman, I needed to get her onto the podcast and the show because she was so interesting. She had so much to talk about. And I just thought, wow, what an interesting individual. So with further ado, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very honoured to be here. I'm Mariam Al-Roubi. I'm a personal trainer. And I have a great passion for solving problems, for finding out what the answers are to basically everything. When it comes to fitness, when it comes to life, business, the journey I'm on, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
talk about it.
It was amazing when I first initially talked to you. Obviously, we were talking about a topic in regard to stretching, because I've always looked at as an athlete of how to improve myself overall, to improve performance, improve my workout. And you had so much knowledge, so much passion that you showed about that topic. And I thought to myself, why don't I just get you on the podcast or my fundamental shows to kind of see what you do from a day-to-day basis in life that actually gives you fulfillment through the fundamentals of life. So give us a kind of what you get fulfillment from, an example of things that you get fulfillment from.
Well, there's something I'm really thankful about, actually, and it's my parents forcing me into ballet. It's something I never wanted to do. I absolutely hated it. I was around 5, 6. And every Saturday, my mum would take me to the arts educational school, Saturday school, and I'd give it a go. But I was just so bad at it. I was so stiff. I was the stiffest person in the whole class. And after 2 years trial, my mum told me, you know what, Mariam, you're actually really bad at ballet. I think you need to just stop. If, you don't look happy. I was always in the back of the class. I'd choose the 5th row and we'd be like 20 girls, 4 in each row, and I'd be right at the back. And my mum, when she was younger, she was an athlete. She was a performer. She was an opera singer. And she really wanted me to be the person that she was, maybe. In a way, it sounds quite bad, but actually she gave me that opportunity to try out different things. And one of them was ballet. When she said, right, no, you're not good at this, just find something else. That stubbornness in me came through and I thought, you know what, I need to try my best. And I came the top of the class.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And after that, I was auditioning for the main ballet school to attend full time. And I was assessed. They accepted me, but I really was the stiffest person on earth. Well, in the school, I'd sit down and my legs would be just under 90 degrees.
Okay.
I couldn't box split. No way. And the normal split, gradient of just over 90, like 100 degrees. So really, really stiff for a ballet dancer. Then my teachers, after 2-3 years in the school, maybe after 2 years actually, she said, no, Mariam has to leave the school because she is way too stiff. She can't get any lines, any arabesque lines. And I just wasn't good enough, basically. When she told me that, it was around just before the summer break. And that's when I started studying my body without realizing. And I started going into stretching and understanding my movements and stretching every single night for no less than 2 hours. I was around 13.
That's amazing dedication there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to leave the school and I loved it. And I thought, well, if I need to get a split, I'm going to get an oversplit. And 6 weeks later, I was quite young, so my body could adapt really quickly. And it's still changing, still growing. My flexibility became so good that I was the most flexible in the whole school. Well, I could hold my legs at 180 without holding my legs. And it reached to that point, and I shocked every single teacher in school, and it was the best feeling ever. Through that, I took dancing really seriously. And flexibility for me became number one. for the health of the muscle, I realised that I felt so much better when I was a bit more flexible, i.e. stretching after a ballet class, which was really quite intensive, really, really intensive, where we'd have DOMs for a week.
Oh, wow.
And we still train with DOMs. I mean, it was a build-up. And if we didn't allow our muscles to go back to its usual state, which is a more elongated, stretched position.
Yeah.
After having it contracted after like 3 hours ballet, there's no way that we would recover for the next session, the next day, then the day after that, and the day after that. So flexibility helped us to move, literally just move. If we didn't have the stretching classes and the recovery phase after stretching, then no one would be able to train as a ballet dancer.
It's amazing.
That's in ballet.
That's amazing. Ballet. So just going back a step to the dedication that you showed, not giving up when you was told that you wasn't good enough.
Oh yeah.
Then how did it make you feel? You know, as obviously as a 13-year-old child going to ballet school and being told that you're not good enough to be in a specific school. You know, you need to improve. How did it make you feel?
I felt like I wasn't good enough for anything ever. Anything, schoolwork went right down.
Yeah.
Even with my friends, my confidence just absolutely shot. I stopped eating for a bit. I mean, it really crushed me, really did. But I'm so thankful for my mum because she really pushed me. And, you know, I'm so thankful for her actually that she's given me a tool to cope with certain things in life. You know, if it really came down crushing on me, to not allow my confidence to be knocked back so much. I think it was around the time when that comment was given to me by my teacher that my mum saw me deteriorate in so many different ways. And that's when she really gave me a lot of, you know, strengthening tools mentally just to cope with the knockbacks in life. And that also came to ideas of failure, to embrace failure. And, you know, if you don't fail, then you will never succeed. Basically, you'll never know what your next step is. And failing, people see it as a really negative thing, but it's not. It's the best thing that will ever happen to your life.
I think the reason why people see failure as a negative topic as a whole is society pressure, really. I think, you know, people don't see it as a lesson. You know, you have to go back to the drawing board and look at the points that the teacher's giving you that you need to improve on for your ballet specifically.
Yeah.
But the topic of failure as a whole, it's something that people look at as a negative point because, you know, everybody wants everything very fast in this day and age and they want to succeed pretty quick in everything that they do. So, you know, they're not willing to try once or twice, you know, for something that they don't get it the first time around.
But
so
then they miss out.
Yeah,
literally.
but so, you know, that was a life lesson for you at a very early age, you know, because of the fact that you failed at the beginning, according to your teacher, you weren't good enough to be in a class. You were able to turn that around now and succeed and be the top of the class. Not only just in the middle of the class, you're meant to be the best in the class. So that gave you a lot of confidence through all the stuff that you did to get you to where you needed to be at the top of the class. But just like what you said earlier, that you were stretching for like 2 hours per day, you know, that's so amazing that you were able to implement such a high work ethic at such an early age, because a lot of people are not willing to commit to 2 hours a day of just so solid stretching for 2 hours a day. That's mind numbing, you know.
As in, I'd watch the film. I'd watch the TV upside down. As in, I'd lay on the sofa with my head dangling on the edge, and my legs just open into a box split, and I'd have my brother sitting on one end with his back supporting my leg and my mum on the other end.
Oh, wow.
And they push down my legs every so often.
So you got the family involved in your stretching then?
Oh, yeah.
Make it more fun.
My brother tried to help with my ballet training when I was at home. Not helping at all, actually, but sound effects.
Can you try and repeat some of the sound effects he was making?
No. You can imagine, you know. Yeah. But no.
That's a phenomenal story in itself. But, you know, that's your ballet career that kicked off at an early age, and you learn a vital lesson from that in regards to what can you...
I think it's with any passion you have in life, you will learn maybe every single lesson in your life within the passion that you have, whether it's bodybuilding or in ballet or even football, medicine, anything. You will learn that, you know, you need to fail to get somewhere else. I know someone who wanted to be a doctor. A really good friend of mine years ago wanted to be a doctor, audition. He went to interviews, different universities, and he was a great candidate. He had 4 A's for his A-levels, but he wasn't accepted. He went and did biochemistry. Going through biochemistry, he then, I think it was a 4-year degree. Through biochemistry, he went back and went for interviews to study medicine. And because he went through biochemistry, he got into the best university, I can't remember which one it was now, for medicine, but he then also specialised very quickly into what he wanted because of that path.
Yeah.
Others who went into medicine, it took them a little bit longer and maybe they were a bit lost. You know, they didn't know what to specialise in. But to him, going through that detour gave him the best possible start in his career.
Yeah, that's amazing, because one thing as well, before we started the show, we were discussing in regards to, you know, the religious aspects, to say that God has got a plan for us. With all of those religious people out there, I believe in God. You know?
I believe in God too.
So tell us a bit more about that. That's an interesting, going back to your friend that you was giving me an example of, that's an interesting topic in itself, because obviously God had a path for him. Discuss it to the listeners and those that are watching.
So in religion, in a lot of religions, there's the idea and belief in fate. A lot of people might think it's absolute garbage, but if you really think about it, I think with how difficult life could be and what's thrown at us from different angles, I think it's an absolute blessing when you have something to fall back on. Maybe just have a few minutes to yourself and think, you know what, everything is all right, because whatever path you're on, providing you're not a criminal or a murderer or a rapist.
We don't like you.
Yeah, we don't like them. We just won't like them.
No, we don't like them.
You will always have the path that you're on, whatever journey you're on, and that's the correct one because you are experiencing it. That's your experience. So in a way, there's no such thing as failure or a type of failure that might knock you back or might make you think, okay, you know what, I haven't reached point B in time, therefore I just won't try anymore. No, reaching point B at that time was the time you had to reach it. So, well done, you're doing the right thing, just keep going. So long your work ethic's in drive, where you actually keep trying and you're not just, you know, blaming God for everything that's going wrong in your life, or just you being lazy thinking, oh, that's life's plan, that's God's plan. Providing you try, that is what you should be experiencing at that time. So example of my friend doing medicine, studying medicine 5 years later was his achievement and his success, because he didn't stop trying. And I think not quitting is the true success.
Yeah, I think definitely you must keep pursuing your dreams. If your dreams are your dreams, no matter how long it takes you to achieve it, you must keep pursuing that dream. For me, I think it's important that you have to keep pursuing that. The only example that I have of that is when I started applying for the London Fire Service. You know, at a very early age, I wanted to join the fire service, and I knew what I wanted to do from the age of 17. Couldn't apply till I was 18, and I started applying at 18, and then I couldn't pass the written test because the written test was very kind of jargon to me. You know, I suffer from dyslexia. You know, back then in 1998, it wasn't clear how dyslexia affected.
They didn't know
what it was. I just thought I was thick. You know, I couldn't understand it. You know, I couldn't pass the written test. But I knew I wanted to join the London Fire Service because it was my calling card to be in the fire service to help people. So from my perspective of that, I didn't give up. You know, it took me 3 attempts to pass that written test. But if I would have given up with the first or second hurdles, I wouldn't be where I am today with the London Fire Service and being employed with the London Fire Service for almost 20 years. So that's the experience I have. And I think it's important that we don't give up for anything that we want to achieve in life, and just keep following that passion, keep following that dream, you know, keep pushing yourself forward. And I love the example you give at the beginning of your ballet teacher telling you that you wasn't good enough.
Oh my God.
You know, that was just...
Ballet teachers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just, you know, that one comment, but every single session, say, if you may have eaten a little bit too much even, and they poke your belly or your bum, and they would. And I had a teacher, bless her, Miss Mariam Al-Roubi.
Yeah.
She was the first Giselle at the Royal Opera. She was the premier ballerina in London.
Wow.
And she was scary as hell. She was so terrifying. And she would file her fingernail into a point. And it was sharp. It was so sharp.
Evil woman.
And she would come and poke you where she doesn't like your, I don't know, maybe your bum. Or, you know, maybe jiggles a bit too much or something. And she'd poke it. And she'd really make you feel bad for it. But we didn't take it personally. It didn't affect us so much that we stopped trying. No, that pushed us even more. I get it. Some teachers could overstep the mark at times and really crush people, whether it's just at school, being academic or vocational. But Miss Marion Delaney, I loved her so much. She'd be so tough with me. Then at the end, she'd come and give me a little hug and go, you know, I didn't mean that. It's just in the session. I want to get the best out of you. And she was incredible. But yeah, she would point and, you know, and even my friends after that, you know, because I'm into rock climbing quite a bit and I train rock climbers.
Oh, wow.
I'd friends who'd rock climb with me, I'd ask them, you know, tell me if you see something that I'm not doing right, or, you know, just comment, tell me, don't hold it back. I like it. I like it when people actually tell me what it is I need to work on or what may not be as perfect as I want it to be. And people didn't quite get it. They didn't understand that I was conditioned through an early time where I like criticism because I like to work through it. And the other thing about achieving dreams, a lot of people actually might get put off achieving their dream if it takes too long, thinking that if they digress from it, then that's a fail. No, sometimes you need to walk away from your dream to come back again. And
that's really, really interesting. What do you mean by that? Walk away from your dream to come back to it?
So, I had an experience when I was 18. I broke my back horse riding.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And I broke 5 vertebrae in my lumbar, L1 to L5. And I was just absolutely out of action. I was told ballet was never on the cards for me. I lost a bit of flexibility in my back, but my legs as well, they were just solid. So my hips tried to recover itself in the wrong position.
Yeah. And
I had 6 diagnoses from 6 different doctors, and they all said the same thing. They said if you go back to training or ballet, you could become permanently paralysed because of where the break was. And again, stubborn Mary from the age of 7 came up and kind of reminded me and said, you know who you are, Mary. Come on, just don't listen to what these people think. Even though they are professionals, they're doctors, they're trained for decades of years. But I really started to understand what my body wanted and how it felt.
Yeah.
And I started training myself after 6 months when I broke my back. And
so you did your own rehab with no guidance at all, from no medical guidance?
I left it all behind because medical guidance was stay at home.
Oh, wow.
Find a desk job. Get out of ballet, you know. And I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to listen to you. And I really went with how I felt, but I walked away from, I did walk away from ballet for a bit. And I had a degree in music technology.
Yeah.
So I became a sound engineer. And I loved it. And I left the ballet side just... I thought, you know what? I need to maybe have another string to my bow.
Yeah.
And then I went into music tech. But I only realised that my time away from ballet made me feel... I had that void. There was a void in me thinking, okay, well, I'm being successful. I'm earning money. I'm not relying on my body because it's weak, and they always said that my body would be weak because of the breakage. But around that time, my absence from ballet made me grow a lot fonder for it. When I came back to ballet through PTing.
Oh,
So
wow.
I became a personal trainer.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in a second.
We will.
We will definitely touch on that topic, your personal training business, in a second.
Okay.
Carry on.
So I became a personal trainer simply because I trained myself and found myself training friends, families, because they asked, how did I get back into good shape? Went into PT, and then through PT, I started training ballet dancers, and I went back into ballet. And I realised that my dream, although it was to be a ballet dancer, I realised that me digressing away from my dream, I came back to realise that actually it wasn't ballet all along. I just loved the field of it, but I wanted to be around ballet dancers, and I wanted to be around the idea of understanding the physiology of what an extreme body is.
Yeah.
Like a ballet dancer.
Yes.
It's an insane way of training. If you were to think of a male ballet dancer, think of CrossFit.
Yes.
For 2 hours non-stop.
Oh, wow.
So a male ballet dancer would be not cleaning and pressing a ballet dancer.
Yeah. But I know the intensity.
Literally.
The intensity you're talking of the workouts.
Not just the workouts, but I'm talking about the shows.
Oh, wow.
The male ballet dancer on stage, look at their flexibility, their poise, their effortless way of being, their grace, but their strength and their power and their speed. It's crazy. And it's overlooked because it's such a feminine, beautiful way of being, but it's really underestimated.
I have to admit, I'd probably definitely put my hand up saying I definitely overlooked male ballet dancers.
2 hours of CrossFit non-stop.
I definitely underestimated their power ratio, their speed, their agility, everything that they do.
And not just their body weight.
Only appreciate it when you go and see a show like the Cirque du Soleil or something, and you see these, Russian ballet dancers performing, male Russian ballet dancers performing amazing acrobats. So you think, wow, I didn't manage that. That's the only appreciations that you can visualize and actually see. But it's definitely something I have to say. I put my hand up and apologise.
A lot of people do. But the one person around the 70s that actually looked into ballet to seek guidance in poise and lines, an actual, a corrected line of a body was Arnie.
Yes.
When he went into a ballet class to achieve a certain line for his posing on stage.
That's correct.
And he took ballet classes to do that. He didn't go to ballet for strength.
No.
But it was to almost remind how his body should feel and stand, so that when he does show off lines on stage, it's the perfect symmetry, perfect line of how we should be.
Arnie's my childhood hero, and the reason I got into training at the age of 12. And that scene...
Age of 12?
Age of 12. So, my story is... I started weight training at an early age because I played football for Chelsea at the time. And I just wanted to be... Not professionally, just like a kid, youth team football. So I was playing youth team football with Chelsea. I was playing Sunday League as well. So I wanted to be strong on the pitch. I wanted to have an edge on the kids on the pitch. So I thought if I start weight training, I'll be strong. I wasn't a naturally gifted footballer, so I had to work a lot harder.
You were a bright kid.
Yeah, I had to work a lot harder on the pitch for my footballing skills. But the one thing I was a natural athlete. So, I had natural strength, natural speed, and I just formed an understanding of the game. So it was my sister, actually, that dragged me to the gym. Summer 92, she said that she wanted to use the gym. So she dragged me to the gym. and we told a little porky lie saying that we were twins, and she was 15 at the time. I was 12.
Wow.
And we started training in a gym.
Any guidance?
No
'Cause 12
guidance.
is young.
No guidance whatsoever.
So did you know what you were doing?
I didn't have a clue what I was doing. All I did was I went into the gym and followed the biggest guy in there around and copied everything that he did. I thought, if he looks amazing, he's doing the right things. I just followed him around. If he's doing an exercise, I count how many reps he did, and I'll copy.
Wow.
I'll wait for him to do his set, then I'll copy.
You were bright.
Yeah, so it was kind of literally, I just wanted to look better. I wanted to feel better. There was no social media back then. There was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was no Twitter, there was nothing to show your grind. There was not even a camera phone.
Just for you.
Yeah, it was literally.
As it should be.
Yeah,
for you.
I was just doing it for myself.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. So, not going off topic too much on what you were discussing, because I love that in regards to what Arnie was doing to find a line in ballet. How can you give the audience that listening what they can do, an appreciation from ballet, for example, if they're not doing ballet, but other sports that they're doing, they can find a fulfillment from?
Well, I would recommend seeking a ballet class. The only issue is a lot of men won't do it.
Yes.
They simply won't do it.
It's intimidating to walk into a room full of women, isn't it?
Do you know
Do you know what I mean? It is quite intimidating, believe it or not. When you walk into a room full of women, it is quite intimidating. Even for the most confident male, it'll be very intimidating. That's probably why a lot of male wouldn't do it, and it doesn't give them very much street cred, does it?
Really doesn't. Around 10 years ago, I started training with a bodybuilder at Virgin Active.
Yes.
So just gym buddies. Every Monday or Thursday, we train legs together.
Yeah.
And he was a big guy. He was huge. His anterior delts were bigger than my head.
Oh, wow.
Them alone, he was massive. And he was always injured. So I found that his anterior delts were overdeveloped more than his rear, and it really pulled him forwards. It affected his biceps, went up to his traps, and his face eventually started to find difficulty in moving. He went through a tough time. He never ever stretched, never mobilized, just went into the gym, did his sets and reps, super heavy, 60 kg dumbbells, curls, and never stretched. And then one day he asked me, do you want to train legs together? And he knew that I was a ballet dancer, and he was interested in flexibility in general. I think he saw something on TV, I can't remember. So I just thought, you know what, it's completely different. I'm very slight, I was really quite skinny, and I wanted to pack on some muscle mass, and I thought, why not, let's do it. And I did 5 years without fail. Every single week we would train. He had a slight back issue. Shoulders, neck were really tight. His thoracic spine was also quite tight. He had no lateral flexion or rotation. It was very minimal. So by the end of it, actually doing a back workout, his range of motion was almost non-existent. It felt like his sessions actually did him a disservice. He wasn't flexing the muscle enough to gain any more mass, almost.
So his range of movement was limited, or range of motion was limited. So, he wasn't taking the muscle to its full stretch, full contraction spectrum.
Which is how the body works.
Yeah.
The muscle needs to move with whatever load you give it in order for it to react and grow.
Exactly.
So he wasn't getting to that stage. But because every single week, after a heavy leg day, I would force him for 1 hour in the studio to stretch with me.
Oh, wow.
I tell him, I'm not going to train with you if you don't stretch, because that's my responsibility. If you're going to look at me as a flexible ballet dancer who's now weight training, we need to switch and swap. And he'd do a bit of ballet at the end of the leg session, but in the studio without any of his friends watching, in secret. Back pain went, knee pain went, his flexibility went from, I remember 35 degrees was all he could do, So if he were to lie on his back,
Yeah.
lifting his leg would be 35 degrees.
So very, very tight hamstrings and glutes. No
120.
movement of the posterior chain.
No, exactly, none whatsoever. He was locked, really locked, until he reached 120 flexibility. As in, his leg went past 30 degrees, 90 degrees.
Wow.
And back pain was completely gone. His leg muscles started to grow quicker, and his calves as well. I think he's fully Jamaican,
Yeah.
so he suffers from flat feet syndrome.
Yeah.
And obviously, if he would do calf raises, he doesn't get the full flexion of the gastrocnemius or soleus.
Yeah.
And I made him play with his feet like a ballet dancer would, to get a bit more flexibility, to stand on a myofascial release ball, and it was the most painful thing he'd ever done. More painful than lifting a heavy weight and reaching hypertrophy. Like, he really worked on it. And doing some balletic movements at home or once a week in the studio, his calves grew 2 inches, I think.
Oh, wow.
Around 2 inches. And his leg muscles grew even more. I mean, he was big anyway, but he noticed a loss of visibility in his hamstrings and his glutes.
Just through doing mobility,
Stretching at the end of the session.
Self-myofascial release, using like a golf ball or something, or a hockey ball, something that's hard to massage the sole of his feet to get them self-myofascial release. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So that's just amazing there. So, you know, if you can increase your calf muscles by 2 inches through just doing those simple things, why would you not do them?
Why would you not do them?
Yes.
So people would see me and my friend, this big guy training in the gym, and I remember he was a bit self-conscious at first, thinking, oh, this was a bad idea. Like, she's so tweeny and, you know, she doesn't lift very much. And I remember the first 2 sessions, he felt amazing. And he was the one chasing me up for sessions and making sure I was there, because if I wasn't there, he wouldn't stretch. And that's how we had a good 5-year span of training together.
So that goes back to accountability, really, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
So you're there to.
I wish it wasn't the case. Yeah.
For what he's doing during the session, which is good, really. You know, I think
you need some reinforcement.
You need some reinforcement, some accountability, because I think it kind of takes you down the correct path of training. You know, so even with myself, I think, you know, one thing that I always like when I'm getting ready to compete or for a show, I always have myself a coach, someone to hold me accountable for my actions, someone to report to on a week-to-week basis.
Getting all the force reps in,
just
negatives.
to give me the guidance and just tell me, you know, straight how I look, and how well or how poor I'm doing. You know, you need that. And I think it's important that whatever we want to achieve, we need some form of guidance and accountability, even if it's a coach or a friend of yours that you're a gym buddy, for example. You know, if you arrange to train with someone,
don't let them down.
You don't want to let them down, do you? No, exactly. So that accountability probably what it kind of boils down to. So just going back a step, tell us a bit about your personal training, and you know, you got into personal training through ballet. You started training ballet dancers, but the knowledge that you show in regards to, you know, flexibility training, mobilization before training, this is the things that I think will be beneficial for myself even. You know, when we were talking about that, and I was like, I want something that I can do in 10 minutes before I start training. You know, if I go to the gym sometimes, I know I've only got an hour or maybe an hour and a half to train. I don't want to spend 20 minutes mobilizing, warming up before I get going. You know, I want to get into the workout. That's where the fun's at. You know, so, you know, this is the conversation I was having. Like, what advice can you give to something that you can do at the beginning of your workout as a warm-up to mobilize the joints, to improve the workout you're about to commence, and to make the necessary gains that you want to make during those workouts? What would you recommend? What is your recommendation?
So you use the lovely word gains.
Yeah.
So if you were to go into a gym to, say, work chest, what's your reason? What do you want to gain? What do you want to gain?
Yeah, I mean, when I walk into a gym and I want to train chest, you know, I'm an aesthetic athlete. So what that means is I stand on stage, So we're trance, we're posing, so I want to look aesthetically better. I want my chest from be more volume from the upper chest, mid chest, lower chest. I want to hit the chest from all angles. I want to stretch the pectoral muscles to make sure the chest looks fuller to the side, to the top, to the inside of the chest, to the bottom of the chest. So I want to hit it from all angles.
So getting symmetry, getting mass, getting the perfect shape of what the pec really is.
That's correct.
So my most fundamental advice,
yes, fundamental,
would be mindset.
Yes.
I know it sounds really naff, whatever, but seriously, it's mindset. And knowing what muscle you're training, that's number one. Because if you go into the gym, you're about to train chest, and knowing that if you don't do your mobility exercises or certain, I wouldn't say stretches because you shouldn't stretch before a session.
That's correct.
Mobility before a chest session, knowing that you don't do that, you will only reach 70-80% of your actual potential. Is that what you really want?
No, I want 100%.
You want 100%.
Yes.
You want every single set to reach to that point where you have enough blood in that muscle, in that part of your body, in order to get the most contraction to connect as many motor neurons as possible within that muscle, right?
Yes.
Mobility is the way to do it. When you mobilize, you're mobilizing that muscle part in order to allow it to prepare it to harness and how do you say, and inhabit as much blood as possible to cope with the load that you want. And with what you're doing and how you train, I'm sure every week you increase weight.
That's the aim.
To some degree.
Yeah, because you're trying to increase volume of the actual workout.
Right.
So the workout that you're completing, so each and every week is it's a gradual progression. So you want to try and increase the load, that you're pushing each and every week, each and every week. So I monitor the load that I'm pushing, and I want to be pushing a more heavier load the following week than the previous week of training. Right. So overall, I'm completing more volume in that workout. So if you're looking at the volume, if you calculate the load that you're pushing, the amount of reps that you've done and the sets that you've done, that will give you the total volume, and you want that volume to increase.
And that's your measurable approach.
That's the measurable approach towards, because as you increase the volume, the more volume that you increase, this is a small way of increasing your muscle mass pretty quick. There are 3 topics that I like to involve is increased volume, increased range of movement, and mind and muscle connection, which you're touching on at the moment. Yeah. Which, is an interesting topic, because this is very important, because, warming up is the boring part. And
the most boring part, but you know what? It's the ferry to get you to that island. You don't want to swim to an island. You want a good, comfortable ride getting there.
That's correct.
Actually, that's a great analogy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Say if you had a kilometre to swim, would you want to swim it, or would you want to get onto a ferry or a boat to get there?
I'd rather get onto a boat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't mobilise or even warm up, your heart rate hasn't been conditioned or prepped to, say, hit peak when you do your 6 to 8 rep sets.
Yeah.
Doing that with the weight that you want to achieve to fail at 8 reps, your heart rate's going to shoot up. If your heart rate hasn't been conditioned or prepped to get there, which you could do through warming up and even mobilizing, then you won't reach your full potential. Simple. Or maybe you can, but with discomfort, with a lot of grinding, with potential injuries as well. Actually,
yeah, obviously,
most certainly, sometimes
an injured athlete can't make no improvements in any field.
Always regress.
Yeah. It's always going to be regress. So it's important that to minimise the risk of injury, this is why it's necessary to warm up. So what would you recommend as a simple warm up?
So
break it down.
The checklist first, I think mindset really is number one. With mindset, having knowledge.
Yes.
Knowledge in how the muscle fibers actually work. How much should you stretch it? you know, and by understanding how the body works, you will be connected to it so much that mobilizing will become your first choice. Doesn't matter what your friends say, doesn't matter what anyone would say or what you read, it's how you feel. So having the right mindset, the right knowledge, it would then take you into knowing how your body should feel before starting a session. And say, for example, okay, it's really difficult to say what it is someone should do before a session, because a session could entail so many different things, like maybe chest and biceps in one day, or it could be like a whole body workout, could be a HIIT session, could be anything. So I can't really tell you what the best exercises are. It depends totally on what you're training on the day. But personally, so at the minute I'm doing a split training program. So on Monday I'm doing legs push. Tuesdays I'm doing chest biceps. Wednesday rest. Thursday I'm doing hamstrings and glutes, so mainly posterior chain, lower back. And then Friday I'm doing back. And Sunday shoulders and triceps. Saturday active rest day, maybe a bit of cardio and abs. And what I do is, before I say legs push, you're looking at your quads, you're looking at your calves, you're looking at your hip flexors. Those are the three main things that I look at to mobilize. And I usually give 2 exercises per one. So now I know that the muscles that I'll be engaging within the session, they're warm, they're prepped, and they've reached to their full stretch and contraction within the mobilization session. So you do need to study a bit before you go into a session, knowing what it is you want to move and mobilize. So it's, you know, if you're doing legs, then working your rotator cuff as mobilization, it's not gonna
no, definitely.
It's not gonna do very much.
No, definitely not.
Maybe to open up the chest and hold the bar for a back squat, but no. It totally depends what it is you're training, but I like to give 2 mobilizing exercises per muscle group, and it could take you between 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And it's not very long.
No, it's not very long. You know, technically, you know, obviously we're looking at dynamic and active stretching to mobilize, so taking the muscle through a range of movements. Nothing static. So, you know, to make sure that you're really prepping the body for the actual main workout is the main focus, but you're looking at your warm-up to prepare you for your main workout. So the movements that you're doing coincide with the main movements that you're going to be doing for your main workout.
So it's functional.
Functional,
it really is
so it's functional.
And it's the proper way of using the term functional.
A functional, and it's a topic that, again, we discussed prior to starting this show. It's a word that's been in the fitness industry been hijacked and overused. Everything's functional now, you know, because it's the buzzword of functional training, you know. So defining function, what would you define as function? You know,
function. In a very simple way of putting it.
Yes.
Say with mobilization, if you're looking at doing a really heavy squat, so you want to reach your 3 rep max or something, you better mobilize within that squat range, within that squat movement, because that's what you're about to do with a much heavier load. So prep yourself through squats being that functional mobilization exercise, whether it's you sitting on a chair or holding a light weight, or maybe doing pulses to try and get as much blood as you can within your quads. And maybe that's a much quicker way of getting your mobilization in as well. That could be one way of doing it. So functionality is mimicking, for me, it's mimicking the movement that you're about to perform at a much higher intensity at the beginning of your session with your mobilization. So repeating the same movement.
That's very similar to an athlete who's a tennis player going to the gym to do functional training based on the sports that they perform in.
Or a golf player.
Yes.
You know, they have the golf stick where you have the oblique diagonal.
That's correct.
Pull.
Yes.
That's functional.
That's functional. So the sport specifically that that individual is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the definition, the correct quick breakdown of functional training is that's what we're trying to define through functional training.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's a terminology that's overused,
Yeah, and people you've got social media now with words being flung left, right, and centre, and it's, people are getting confused. Even at times for me, when I go and research online, even I get confused.
Yeah, no, I've been training for 28 years, and there isn't a day that I still don't feel confused with certain words and certain terminologies that's used. I'm always trying to learn and read up to the latest, fitness fab or what's going on within the fitness industry, keep myself well up to date with everything and educated, up to date with everything. But I find it interesting talking to the likes of you. And like I said, the first conversation we had, it was like, I've got to get you on the podcast because I just find you've got so much to say that I think will benefit the listeners, those that are watching, because I just think they can learn by just regressing their program or their training, just taking a little step back. You don't have to go back. Yeah. You don't have to take a massive step back, but you will improve in your performance in your sport.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy your workout a lot better. You'll make better gains. You'll stay injury free. Because it's always hard to stay injury free if you're pushing your body to that high performance level.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to stay injury free, but the aim is to stay injury free just so you can show up every day. And as long as you're turning up every day, those improvements will come. If you're showing up every day and you're taking the wrong start to your workout every time you show up,
you're done.
Exactly. So those progress are going to be very slow. So it's just, I'm actually just thinking in my head the mistakes that I've made with my training over the years where, I've only got an hour to train, I've rushed into the gym and I'm straight into my first set. Obviously I use the first couple of sets as a warm up, but I haven't done no mobilization, no functional movement to prepare me for this, what I'm just preparing, just about to start doing. So I've just gone straight into the workout, using the first set as a warm up. So, I've made those schoolboys error and I'm still making them on some days when I'm rushing, but it's important that to understand for us to go forward, we need to take a step back.
Take a step back and take time in studying. And actually maybe using a few protocols that might even help. Like sometimes fear could really help.
Yeah.
Like the one thing for me, with diet. So I used to love Snickers. Every day I'd have one.
Who doesn't like Snickers?
Huh?
I said, who doesn't like Snickers?
Oh,
chocolate, nuts, caramel, everything in there. Oh, give me one right now.
And once I did a research, like a research session where do you remember the time when they brought out like 3-4 different Snickers? Do you remember? Different flavours?
No.
I bought all 5 bars.
Oh, wow.
And I ate all 5 bars thinking, well, I'm just going to taste them. I need to know, what it tastes like, the textures. 5 and 20 minutes, and it wasn't hard. It wasn't
5
hard.
and 20 minutes.
I once did...
That's like 1,250 calories.
Yeah.
In 5 chocolate bars, like 250 calories a bar.
Don't remind me, but yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's phenomenal.
Well, no, my all-time best is 3 days where I did 40 Kit Kat bars.
Oh, wow.
But it's just it's stupid. I don't recommend it.
No.
I do not recommend it.
No, I would not recommend eating that much sugar in one sitting.
Yeah, my poor pancreas, bloody hell. Just insulin
shot
straight up through the roof.
Wow, that's amazing.
Never again. But so basically there was a time when I loved my Snickers bar, and I'd use visualization to make myself a bit fearful.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine how much butter might be in a Snickers bar, and I'd look at the Snickers bar and I'd turn it into a stick of butter, and I'd be like, would I ever go into the fridge, get a President butter bar, and eat it straight away? Wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't. So I stopped eating chocolate for a long time because I really took over that visual impact.
Yeah, no, that's another topic in itself. That how addicted sugar is, and
that's another podcast.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It is completely, but it's God. Once I start something, I can resist eating chocolate or eating sugary snacks. But once I start that sugary snack, that's a slippery slope for me. And,
Yeah.
you know, I'm very disciplined with my diet, training and controlled. But once I start, it's
I
very,
think
very
it's why
hard.
you're so disciplined, because you're all or nothing.
Yeah, I have a
So-
very, very addictive personality, and I'm all or nothing. Either I throw myself into something fully, or, you know, I don't do it
It's
at
what
all.
makes you so good at what you do.
Oh, thank you.
And you're very good at what you do. So
You know,
yeah.
I mean, I like to be, you know, like I said, you know, the reason that I created this show is to bring guests like you on to give something back, you know, because I just think it's so much information out there, but what is it that we're all searching for from everything that we do in life? You know, I know for me, it was, you know, it was the fundamentals of finding fulfillment. And, you know, and this is the topic we've talked a bit about what you've done and things that you've done throughout your life. How have those things fulfilled you in ways that have you found fulfillment from those things? You know, the important things that you've done. How have you felt? Does it make you feel fulfilled in your field and your life?
Yeah, wow.
I know it's a deep question. It's a tough one to answer,
Yeah.
but
It is. Do you know, I think it's so important for everyone to have a passion and to not be selfish. That's something I've learned. Being selfish in terms of having a goal and achieving it. It's all about you. It's always you.
yeah.
Which is good within yourself, because it means that whatever platform you might build for yourself, it's a strong one to stand on and to present yourself in the best way possible. But I find fulfillment, and I'm not saying this because I'm Mother Teresa, but seriously, it is so good when do you ever feel good when you give up your seat on the train?
I feel
To
great.
someone who's-
I feel great. It just feels like, you know, God has given me the kind of
The health and
the
ability
health,
to stand up.
yeah, that I have, and
Right.
I'm very appreciative of it. And, you know, when you see an older gentleman or an older lady or someone with a child, you know, that comes onto the train, I don't need to sit down. I can stand up. You know, I'm very healthy, so you know, I always feel good.
So naturally, I think we're human beings, and we're all about social interaction, whether we're loners or not. When we do something that might affect someone else's life, it's a great feeling. It's so good. The one thing that I find gives me a lot of fulfillment, quite genuinely, is say if because a lot of my clients have really either horrific syndromes or some really terrible injuries that inhibits them from living their life. And I don't know where they come from. Bless them. It's great training them, but it's really hard work, emotionally, physically, for myself. That when I see an outcome that's really positive, I just want to have more of these clients. I just want to give a lot more energy and a lot more time. And when they come back to me saying, you know what, Mariam, I went on a hike with my family, and usually I'd stay at home in the hut or like a cabin, and they'd go out walking, but instead I went out with them on a 3-hour walk and came back, and I could have gone for another 3 hours. So it's like, it's so good. It's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with my ability to do anything physically. But for me to train someone in the gym and then for them to come back to me and say thank you, it is so good. And that fulfillment for me comes in many different shapes and forms in other types of ways of helping others. But I think it should be 50-50. Getting that fulfillment is what you do for others, but also, again, what you achieve. But what is it you achieve? Like, I'm just waffling now, aren't I?
No,
I really don't know what the answer is.
It's so interesting because, like, you know, like I went through life, like literally, I've achieved so much, but I didn't feel fulfillment in anything.
Yeah.
I feel like I was just, for a very long time, I was just kind of almost just not alive, not experiencing life to its fullest, not feeling fulfilled. I was successful, you know, I built myself a lovely home, you know, I had a great job, you know, I just didn't really know my purpose, what I was here for. I felt a bit lost. So I went away. I did a television show for the BBC in 2008, Last Man Standing, which I travelled around the world. And
it's phenomenal.
yeah,
Seeing like
yeah,
10 minutes of it.
I showed you parts of it.
mind-boggling.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
but for me, the times that I spent on my own, because you couldn't communicate with the tribes that we were living with because they didn't speak English. So communication was dead. When the cameras go, you're with them at the end of the night. So you're with them, communicating however you can. You know, where's the toilet? Where's the bush over there? Literally, what am I going to eat for food? Right, this meat that we've just cut up. So I found a sense of direction when I came back from my trip, because I was still in the London Fire Brigade. I joined the London Fire Brigade in 2001. So I was still in the London Fire Brigade when I did my TV show in 2008. But when I came back, I found a sense of direction. The sense of direction that I found was, right, I want to help people. Without realising all the jobs that I've done all my life, was helping people.
Yeah.
So from a very early age, when I had my first job, you know, delivering pizzas, that was helping people that were hungry.
And they get angry.
And they get very angry.
Yeah.
Then I went to work in a leisure centre, which I was a lifeguard in a leisure centre and a personal trainer. That's where I gained my personal training qualification, working in a leisure centre. So I worked in a leisure centre as a lifeguard and a personal trainer, again, helping people. And then my friend joined the fire brigade in 1998 or 97. And I wanted to do exactly the same thing. So I followed the niche footpath, helping people. So I look back at my life, from an early age, all the jobs that I've had evolved around helping people. And I just thought to myself, that's my calling card. I want to help people. So when I came back from Last Man Standing, finished filming at the end of 2008, because it was a year-long filming, about 10 months filming. We travelled around the world from the beginning of 2008. We started filming, we travelled around the world. And we finished filming around October 2008. And when I came back from that, I found a sense of direction, and I thought I really want to help people. So I set up my own personal training business. I went back to personal training, set up my own business, and I started helping people. And that gave me fulfillment, because I was able to find what I wanted to do and do it under my own rules, by just working for myself, not working for a gym where you have to be there at a certain time. I just wanted to train clients that wanted to achieve their ultimate physique. You know, they had a wedding coming up, they wanted to achieve a nice physique for their wedding, a nice body. So I trained male, female clients, and that gave me great fulfillment in knowing that I helped that individual to achieve their goals, their personal fitness goals. But, you know, and then I look back at my job as a firefighter. Again, you know,
that's all you do.
That's all I do, is put myself at risk for, I'm willing to run into a burning building to rescue complete strangers that I don't know and risk my life. Knowing that, and knowing that the responsibility of my great city that I live in, London, you know, that gives me great fulfillment. You know, and I don't go to work thinking, I don't think twice of going into a burning building. I don't even think. It's something that we are professional firefighters, we're trained firefighters, and this is what we do day in, day out. And it's something that I wouldn't even think about. I wouldn't even hesitate to go into a burning building to rescue someone that I don't even know.
Didn't you win the last man standing? Were you the last man standing?
Indeed, I was the last man standing, you know. That gave me great achievement, because, again, you know, I wanted to win that show from the get-go. I really wanted to win. Not because of the fact that it was very competitive. There's 6 guys, 3 from the UK, 3 from the US, and we travelled around the world and stopping off in different locations around the world. You know, from Ethiopia to Burkina Faso to the Philippines to Indonesia, India, Papua New Guinea. You know, we went to so many different locations around the world. It was an amazing year of my life, travelling around the world. You know, my passport looked like there's tats all over my passport, stamps from different countries that I've been in. It was a great way of seeing the world for what it was. And again, coming back from that trip gave me a sense of appreciation as well, which I think I've lost a little bit since then, because of the fact that these people, they had nothing. Literally, you know, they had like literally mud huts, you know, up in the mountains in Ethiopia, an AK-47. Yeah, that was a bit scary, but they had they had nothing, but they were very happy with the minimalistic stuff that they had in life. But yet, us in the Western world, we have everything, but yet we're still unhappy. And it gave me, I learned a lot from that about myself, and it made me a better man, and it made me the man that I am today, going on that show. And I am still trying to understand other people like yourself and what they find fulfillment in, and you know what's important to them in life. You know, and it's interesting like what you've come up with and the stuff that you said. It's, you know, I love it. You know, and we won't waffle on. We won't carry on waffling on. But it's been, you know, we can go on for hours. This topic can go on for hours. So for me, you know, I want to kind of say a big thank you for you for coming on. No, not a problem. It's been interesting talking to you. So I want you to kind of tell the audience how they can get hold of you. I know you're not big on social media, but you need to get your social media game up now, because social media is here to stay, and it's gonna be the future. And the knowledge that you have, it's wasted just helping individuals. Just imagine how many people you can help in the world. The world is your oyster.
You've become my life coach.
No, I'm serious, because when I look at it, and I look at it like you're helping individuals on a day-to-day basis with your clients that you're training. So from looking at it from a bigger scale, the informations that you do and the videos that you can do and the knowledge that you have is phenomenal. And you can pass on so much knowledge to individuals just by, even someone like myself. If someone said to me, here's a 5-minute video to warm up, I'll watch it, because I know that it's going to give me more gains during my sessions. I'm going to be able to push more weights. I'm going to make better gains aesthetically to my physique. I'm not going to watch it. It's only 5 minutes. Exactly. I'm going to watch it and do exactly as they tell me to do. So I just think creating little videos, like a warm-up video, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, little short clips, you know, they don't have to be specifically, but just for regular gym goers to get you going in the gym will be phenomenal. And I just think, anyway, tell the listeners, tell the viewers how they can get hold of you, your social media, your Instagram.
My Instagram is at mmfitlondon.
Loved it. Love it. Yeah.
And my website is www.mariamfitness.com.
That's phenomenal. Do you have Twitter or Facebook or anything?
No.
None. We need to get you
I
on.
am minimal.
Yeah, minimal.
I'm minimal.
Do you have TikTok?
What the hell is TikTok? What's TikTok?
TikTok is the social media platform that it's pretty new. It's really new. I mean, it's something that I haven't got into yet myself, but yeah, no, honestly, it's phenomenal. Thank you so much for coming on. I've learned so much talking to you. Again, we can go on for hours about what we're discussing, but I hope that the listeners have got something out of this, as in, you know, how you found fulfillment through life and how we found fulfillment through life and the things that we've done. So thank you very much.
Thank you.